Everything in this life is uncertain. Seems like any moment now they'll roll back the curtain, and all of these experiences will dissolve like smoke. Maybe there'll be a lot of laughing. I don't know how it will go. I feel alone and I feel betrayed. I feel taken advantage of all along the way. I'd like to pretend and have it be true. Invent the life of my dreams and invent one for you. Just like they're telling me every day on YouTube. I had COVID all week and it messed with my brain. I felt like I had super senses, and the rain made me tired even more than I ordinarily would have been. Sitting home with a neti pot, a notebook and pen. Last day at the job, the place I've been working. I start a new job in the morning, and I don't know if it will be a good fit for me, or if I might as well just let it all go to sea. And it doesn't really matter. And it does not really matter. Had COVID all week long. It does some really weird stuff with the old brain. And the last time, I don't know, I may have had it a couple times since, I don't know. It's definitely not an ordinary disease. I had it in the beginning, the first month of 2023, and it took my sense of smell afterwards very slowly. And then a couple months ago, I started experiencing a phantom smell, where it's like I can seldom smell things. Like I can sense that there's a presence of a scent. Like if I spray air freshener, I can tell that it's in the room, or I like spray some bleach, I can tell it's in the room. But I can't smell it. I can smell some roses if I'm like really close to them. But I experience like a lot of different smells as being the same smell. And it's unfortunately not a pleasant smell. It's like a cross between like a restaurant's fry oil vat and hydraulic fluid. It started a few months ago, and I just smell it all the time. Or it comes and goes now, but for a while it was like every smell smelled like that. had COVID all this week, and it wasn't like super unpleasant, but it was weird. It was bringing up all these memories of ways I've behaved in the past, or things that I've said in conversation, or just how I've held my energy, kind of like who I am. But it was like judgment. It was like I was being judged. And so it wasn't the most pleasant thing. But while I was enduring that, it was my last week of work at the place that I've been working for a while, because I start a new career path tomorrow. And I didn't get to work a full week because of COVID. I'm sure there were other people that I actually got it from at work that anyway, so it's just a really strange time. I'm about to begin a new job, and I had this whole weird COVID week. I just tested negative today, but I still have like this like balloon head kind of symptoms, and got some weird sinus stuff going on. But I was sitting around, and one of the things that I was spending time with was this really cool tool of close voice leading. And close voice leading is determining a chord, a triad or a chord that I want to learn, finding the notes in that chord as close to the nut as possible, close to first or zero position, on the first 4 strings, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then moving each note in the chord up the neck to the next note in the chord. It's not the only way to find chords, but it is a really cool way to do it, because it guarantees you, if you have 4 notes in the chord, it guarantees you 4 inversions. You can choose different tracks. You could split, I'm going to do the first, third, fifth, and sixth string kind of thing. You could split it up and find inversions that way. But I find that choosing the first, second, third, and fourth string, or the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth strings, and moving through all 12 keys in one chord. So, for example, to begin with, you would say start with triads and find the inversions, right? So it would be like, you want to start in E, and what are the notes in the E major triad? It'd be E, G sharp, and B. I want to find them as close to the nut as possible on the first, second, and third string. So there's a G sharp on the third string, and then I've got the 5 on the second string, and on the 1, so 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. And then I would move each note in the triad up to the next note in the triad. So the E is going to go, that's the root, so that's going to go to the third. There's a third is G sharp. The 5 is B, so that's going to go to the root, which is E. And then the G sharp is the third, and that's going to go to the 5th. So it's B. So you've got the... And then I do it again. So I've got the third, that's going to go to the 5th. I've got the root, that's going to go to the third. And then I've got the 5th, and that's going to go to the root. So you've got And of course the 12th fret is just going to repeat this pattern here. And that's all well and good and fun, but then I can harmonize, I can go through all 12 keys, and I'm going to find those, on those first 3 strings, I'm going to find those same 3 inversions. So then I go and I'm like, well, I'm going to find the minor triad inversions up the neck, then I'm going to find the diminished triad inversions up the neck, then I'm going to find the augmented triad inversions up the neck on the first 3 strings. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to harmonize the scales on the 3 strings, right? Just with the triad. So I've got the E again. The next note in the major scale of E is F sharp. So I would find the triad of F sharp using only the notes that are in the key that I'm in, and in this case the key of E major. So I have an F sharp, I have an A, and a C sharp. So the notes that are in the key determine the what the triad identity, whether it's major or minor or diminished, which you'll encounter in the major scales, or major or minor or augmented or diminished, which you encounter in some of the minor scales. So, and then I would go all the way up. So there's a major, diminished, minor, major, major, minor, minor, major. And then you'd find the 1, 3, 5, maybe the octave. So I go through all the keys doing that, and then when I've familiarized myself with that stuff, I'm gonna start adding sevenths in. So I could say, I can find diminished 7 chords, half diminished 7 chords, dominant 7 chords, major 7 chords, minor 7 chords, and then the dominant chords include everything after that: 6 chords, 9 chords, 13 chords, 11 chords. Those are all dominant chords, meaning they have a dominant 7, would be implicit in the structure of it. And then stuff gets starts to get really fun. And so I was going over, I went over some major 7 inversions all the way up the neck. So say I started in B and I wanted to do a major 7 chord and find through close voice leading what the inversions are on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string. So I would say, okay, well, what's the major triad in B? I've got B, D sharp, and F sharp. So I've got that open B on the 2nd string. I've got the D sharp on the 4th string, 1st fret. I've got an F sharp on the 2nd fret, 1st string. And then I've got an A actually, that's 7. So, oh yes, excuse me. Yeah. So a major 7 chord, so it would be an A sharp, because a major 7, of course, is a half step below the root and not a whole step as a dominant 7. Dominant 7, major 7. And you get this dissonance, this really interesting dissonance with the major 7, as it's only a half step away from the root. A sharp B, A sharp B, A sharp B, A sharp B, A sharp B. And then again, I move each note in the chord to the next note in the chord. So the 5 is going to go to the 7. The let's see, where are we at? 5 goes to the 7. The root is going to go to the 3rd. The 7 is going to go to the root. And the 3rd is going to go to the 5th. So then I've got and then I do it again. Each note goes to the next note. Again. And then if I want to, and I can get froggy with it, and then again. Whoop. And it gets really fun just listening to it. Because essentially what we're doing is we're playing multiple modes at the same time, right? So there's this would be an arpeggiated mode, but that's kind of cool, right? That sounds a beautiful little kind of pentatonic arpeggio there. Yeah. Yeah. And so the arpeggio here is the chord. And then each of these strings, I'm doing the same thing. I'm arpeggiating the entire chord. Ah. And again. C, B, D sharp, F sharp. And then while I'm in each position, I can see if there's like a modal pattern without leaving the position, like a scalar mode pattern. You know, that goes along with that voicing. And then I can do that. Just spend hours and hours and hours doing that, and occasionally I don't know, you stumble on something that's just really fun and weird, and I try to approach everything musically, and occasionally I'll get a whole song out of it, a whole piece out of it. The one thing I stumbled on the other day while I was doing this is I don't even remember what chord I was going for, but I stumbled on this. So it is a B7 with a flat 5. And then I did the closed voice leading. And I just thought it was really interesting that this this flat 5 pattern, there's 4 notes, and on these first 4 strings, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's only 2 inversion shapes, right? So this one right here is actually the same shape. And then this shape here. It's a very Twilight Zone-y kind of chord. That's like, you know, when the trouble presents itself. Oh no, the McDonald's is floating above the earth, and we're still inside with our milkshakes that haven't arrived from behind the counter. And where did all the help go all of a sudden? Oh, Twilight Zone. And then trying to find a modal pattern for that would be very different. And then I could just spend time kind of feeling into that, and then trying to make something and then I would stop and I would pause and think about, like, okay, where would any of these chords be used in context? In a progression, in a piece of music? Where would I throw in a flat 5 chord, you know? Maybe as like the 5 of so this would be like a B7 flat 5. So maybe I would throw it in like some sort of E blues or something. It's like it doesn't really resolve, and it's got this Maybe it would work better with like a. I think I may have lost the audio.